Yeah, I think the challenge is like there's a couple laws around like you can't like pay a patient for a referral. I've always been like, man, if I could just like tell patients if they refer somebody that they can have like, a Chick-fil-A gift card or something, that would be fantastic.
So the way around this is, and not legal advice, and I'm not a lawyer, I'm a marketing guy, but from everything I understand, is that if you assume, welcome back to another episode of My Dental Playbook. I'm your co-host, Gary Bird. Along with my friend, Dr. Blake Hamblin, we're going to be sharing hard-hitting things that are driving his practice to over $500,000 in production. And today, he's going to share how he's been attracting larger treatment and also internal marketing, which is really important. At the end of the show, we're going to be giving away a checklist that he used to grow his internal marketing and a marketing calendar for social media. Very, very valuable stuff. You're going to want to stay tuned for this one. Boom. All right. We were live for another episode, and this one's going to be a fun one. We're going to talk about internal marketing and how to get more of the bigger, more funner cases. If you're an experienced dentist, the smile makeovers, the full arch, more of those kinds of patients without spending more money on marketing, but kind of getting them from the patient base that you already have. Now, disclaimer, this doesn't work if you're only getting like 10 new patients a month. Like you don't have a big enough pool to pull from. But now Dr. Hamblin's in the 100 club. So he just got, for the first time, over 100 new patients last month. And there's a ton of opportunities in there. We just have to kind of pull them out. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do, I think you just did maybe one of the best marketing investments ever. You spent $2,000 on those signs, and I want to kind of describe them to our audience. The light poles in your parking lot, you went up on those and you put two big old massive signs on the side of them with your practice and your logo, and I think you even put a call to action on them. And you spent $2,000 on them, right? They look really cool.
Yeah, thereabouts. So basically we made technically we did 5 different variations of signs, and on the front and the back we're butted up next to a discount tire. And so there's people that literally, even on the weekends, are like lined up on the service road to get in there. And I was like, man, they're just sitting there. Why not market to them? So we got some signs put up, and it's Invisalign, our $49 special, sleep apnea and implants. And so it just highlights those things. And then we've also been using an A-frame sign down by the service road it's the same sign, just an A-frame for Invisalign and our $49 special. And so like and like those were like, I think total maybe $300, but like you can't drive by our office without seeing something that's going on. So
last month you had your biggest traditional marketing new patients ever with 16.
Wow.
I don't know if every one of those came from that. It's possible that one or two here or there, but you probably had at least 15, 14 new patients come from that last month. Now, here's the beautiful thing about these kinds of marketing campaigns. You get that forever. So you pay $2,000, $3,000 one time. And now I think this month though, because you put them up, they just went up in June, right?
Yeah, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay. So we're first week of the second day of the month now. You already have 5 traditional marketing new patients. So I really think that you're going to be able to eventually get to this like 20, 25 from those signs. Like that's my guess, which is amazing.
2, I think people are starting to realize we're here. And so like our building, we've had more and more people. In fact, we had a new patient today say, yeah, I was driving to work and I saw you were here and my tooth hurt. So I swung in and here I am.
Just getting drive-bys, patient referrals are amazing. We love patient referrals. They're the highest trust patients. But the next caliber of like trust patients are people who are just like, oh, I come to the tire shop or I get my oil change right there, or I go to my coffee every day and I just see you. Because they've seen you for so long, you don't know them, but they know you because they see your building, they see your sign. They trust you. Like, yeah, you seem like a good practice. So I came in, I saw your Google reviews, and that's just free new patients. Now you pay for it in rent and signs, but it's a slam dunk. Once those start rolling, they don't stop. And I don't think your old location, I don't think you were getting anything.
No, we were in a 5-story medical building, so nobody knew we were there. We were just hiding out, doing our thing up there.
Yeah. So if we can get to 20, let's say you get to 20 over a month, I think you can get to more, but let's just say 20. I mean, you're getting 20 new patients every single month, year over year. That starts compounding like crazy, and it's amazing. So good work on that. Okay, so let's jump into this. So This is going to be a little bit of a different podcast. Probably nobody's ever done a podcast like this before in dental. Dr. Blake wants to build his internal marketing plan, and we're going to do it live here on the show. So we're going to talk about that. And I have 5 different pillars that we're going to go over. So let's first just talk about what the problem we're trying to solve. So right now, lots of new patients. Awesome. We love that. We just want a couple more smile makeovers, a couple more full art. So we've been talking about how can we do that with not only just our existing patient base, but also just letting people know around us that are already seeing us like, oh, I can do that there with you as well. So the first thing, I have 5 different pillars that we're going to talk about. And if you want this whole list, I have this whole list documented. Go to my Dental Playbook. It's on there. And you just give your email. We'll email it all to you. And you can get exactly what we're talking about right here. So the first thing is a smile makeover content checklist. So case by case. So right now we need to, I told Dr. Blake, I need more like before and afters of full faces. So before the treatment, during the treatment, and after the treatment. And I have like 15 things in there that you can do. You can take high quality photos before the whole natural face, record a short video of the patient explaining why they wanted the makeover. Nothing. It's not like, it's just like, hey, this is kind of where I'm at. Capture a scrolling B-roll shot of them laughing naturally. So just getting a good shot through there. Recording finance conversations. So that's huge because a lot of this is finance driven and you're really good at getting people to a payment. And then during treatment, same thing. We have a checklist. And then after treatment, we have a checklist for that as well. So is that something that you're able to do as like starting right away?
Yeah, for sure. And we have a lot of those full face photos. So I really probably just need to get them to your team. And the bummer part of it is like we've got a lot of the cases that I did, 2 years ago prior to us having the photo studio. I have good before picture and a good after picture. And so what we're doing internally is we're actually at our 6:00, we've got a big 75-inch TV. And so I've utilized the full face photo that we've taken in our studio, but then in the bottom right corner, we've put the up close smile photo so that you can still see the before and the after. Now it's not a side by side full face, but it's still something. So we've got a fair amount of those now that I think can be helpful. And so, and frankly, we need to do a better job of that, not just with our FMR cases, but also with like Invisalign and stuff like that.
Awesome. So how do you, well, first let's talk about this. We'll talk about the how we get our team to do that in a minute, but let's talk about the why. So a lot of dentists use just this part, right? And to be honest with you, you can just go get stock photos of before and afters and just throw those on your website, but they're not. Dentists love those because they're like, no, I can see and I see the patients are like, okay, yeah, that looks a little bit better. Like your teeth are a little bit straighter. But when you have the full face, for me as a patient, not a dentist, when I see the full face, I'm like, holy smokes, that like changed the way that they look as a human. It's way more emotional. So let's talk about, so that's really important, Dennis. If you're listening to this, get full faces and you have to get people to sign off that you can use it and all that kind of good stuff. I think everybody understands that. How do you get your team to start capturing this content? Or how are you, maybe a better way to ask this is like, how are you going to start working with your team to make sure that you're capturing the videos and the photos and the iTero scan screenshot and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah. So part of our workflow, our new patient workflow, and any patient that's not due for x-rays is they get updated photos and iTero scan. And so those photos are included in we have a whole room dedicated to just photos. And so you don't have to have an whole room. You can use like the end of your hallway. There's a lot of different ways you can make this work. I've even seen people put like a black felt board in each room to where they can take that full face photo there. And so there's a lot of ways to do that, but it's just what we do. It's how we, yeah, it's our flow. That's what they do now. And I actually have this on my to-do list on Monday. So it's funny we're talking about this is we just onboarded some new assistants and I want to talk to them about specifically with post-op photos, like why we take the photos we take. And one is obviously so we can have them for Instagram, but 2 is so that like clinically we can basically tell a story, right? So if there's ever an issue and the patient's upset about something, we can walk through and be like, well, this is maybe where this occurred or whatever. And so getting them to not just say, oh, well, what we just take photos. Like I've done that. And the downside to that is they just take photos and you'll get the photo, but it's a dark photo or it doesn't look the same as the other one. And so if they understand the why, if they understand, hey, we're taking this photo because we might want to post it on Instagram, but we also just want to have a really good photo to document how they healed or what happened. That's super helpful.
Yeah. So your team needs to understand the why behind it, what you're trying to accomplish. And we're going to dive more into this, but the goal here is to post these on the website, post these on social media, send these out in emails, which we're going to talk about in a moment. And what that does is it lets everybody know, and it causes people to think, because there's a huge difference between a patient getting their teeth cleaned. They know they need that, right? They've already been trained. Everybody knows, get your teeth cleaned every 6 months. But they don't know all their options for like straighter teeth, healthier teeth. And I've talked with you before, and we've talked about the different options that I have. And you were like, well, Gary, we could do some no prep veneers here, but here might be a little bit harder. So we might have to do something. And it's very technical, right? Like very, very technical. And like, I didn't know that as a patient. No one's ever told me that before. And I think a lot of times what happens is we assume the patients know, oh, we do aligners or we do this or we do that. But the patients really don't know, and they don't really know if they're qualified, and they don't know if they're candidates. And a lot of times they'll say yes if we're showing them and telling them. And just like you said, your team doesn't even understand the why behind it. How in the world is a patient going to understand that, oh, I need that or I need this? Okay, so that's really good on the workflow. So we have that whole workflow before the treatment, during the treatment, after the treatment. And each one of them has all, the steps in it. And then you can tweak it and use it how you want to make it work in your office. And then the second thing that we got, and I got 5 points here. So the second thing is the yearly internal marketing calendar. Now, I haven't showed this. I think I showed it to you briefly, but you may like some of these. You may hate some of these. So let's talk through this and do this live. So we'll just start in January, make it easy. Okay, January's New Year, New Smile. Highlight full smile cases and financing options. I think January is one of the best times to start marketing because, number one, everybody's insurance resets and everybody knows that. So they're just like, oh, dental work. You know what I mean? So it's just like they look at that like free money. So that helps. And I know these cases aren't insurance driven, but people are just thinking that way. But the other thing that people are thinking in the new year, gym memberships go through the roof in January. And the reason gym memberships go through the roof in January is everybody goes, New Year's resolution. I want to better me. I want to lose weight. I want to be fitter. I want to be healthier. I want to eat better. And part of that is I want to have a better smile. And a lot of that is driven by finances, right? So it's like January, but can I afford it? So we're thinking of doing a January, and this isn't just external marketing. This is internal marketing as well. Emails, posting on social, talking with your team. So do you like that one? We're going to take some of the cases that you have, highlight those, and then say, you can have this for X amount of dollars per month. Okay, I'm going to X dollars per month. So that one's simple. February, share the love, couples consults, refer a friend offered, like share the love type thing. So put together like some kind of referral package to share with loved ones. If that's an easy one, like buy your wife.
I think the challenge is like based off of where you're located. I know in Texas, there's a couple of laws around like you can't, and don't quote me on this, but you can't like pay a patient for a referral. And so, okay. And so I think I've always been like, man, if I could just like tell patients if they refer somebody that they can have like, a Chick-fil-A gift card or something, that would be fantastic. But
so the way around this is, and not a legal advice, and I'm not a lawyer, I'm a marketing guy, but from everything I understand, is that if you just tell people like, hey, we're giving you this, and then you tell them about the campaign, that works really well. So you can do like a Starbucks card, and you can just be like, you're an awesome patient. Here's a Starbucks card because we love you. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And we have this great campaign that we're doing where if you share this with people, they get XYZ, this promotion. So it's like share the love. You know what I mean? We're loving you, share the love with someone else. And so that's kind of the way around it. And you can do this. The other thing you can do is you can also motivate your team to bring it up. So you can pay your team to bring it up with people. And then if they come in, they get a bonus or whatever. Okay, so how do you want to break that one down? So I got February, share the love, refer a friend type offers. Do you want to more motivate the team?
Yeah, I think that makes sense to motivate the team. But I think there's a way to motivate the patient too. Like if the patient knows there's a benefit to referring, I think that may just take some more thought of like, how do we make that make sense and make it legal and all that stuff.
Okay, cool. We won't do that here. Okay, March. Okay, so this one's a really cool one. So I put it here in March, admin training discounts, discounted cosmetic treatment for staff training. So this is how this works. So you take your email list, or you go into your PMS, you pull all of your untreated, unscheduled treatment, all of it. Then you say, okay, I want to see anything over X amount of dollars. So let's just use a round number, $5,000. So any treatment in the last 2 years, 3 years that has gone unscheduled over $5,000. And then what you do is you send out an email and a text and you say, anything, we're giving 20% off all treatment over $5,000. And on this week, and the reason we're doing that is we're training some of the admin staff, phones, note taking, all those kind of things. You don't want to do clinical training. You want to do administrative training. I want to make that really clear. So you're not, sometimes dentists hear this and they're like, oh, I don't want to discount my work. You're not discounting your work. What you're doing is you're giving an incentive for the patient to come in during the time that you want to help train your team. So it's a trade-off, right? Not a coupon thing. And you don't want the patients to know when you're doing this. So you can't do it like, we do this every month at this time. Patients will just wait for that, right? To do the work. So this is a way to move treatment that's just sitting there dormant and move big cases in that didn't say yes.
Yeah, I really like that. And I think that could even be something we do in like September when things slow down this year.
I actually have that in same thing, second round of that. So March, the reason you do March is because you're coming into tax season, right? April 15th, April to April 15th, everybody's getting a big check. And it's like, hey, put that towards your big treatment and you're getting this discount. So it's like double dipping for them. And then in September is when you want to do it again because production's always low in September. So good call. So 10 to 20% off treatment over 5. What would be the magic number there? 4,000, 5,000?
Yeah, I mean, 4,000 or 5,000 sounds reasonable. I think filling the schedule works. I'll let them save $400, $800 on something.
Perfect. Okay. And then in April, now this one's going to be interesting because I've done these before for aligners, but I've never done them for veneers. Or smile makeovers. So I put in April to do a veneer day or a veneer week. And you've heard of like the aligner campaigns, right? So basically just for the audience. So the aligner campaigns are, we're doing an Invisalign day or an Invisalign week. You get your team to wear pins, you motivate, you give some kind of bonus to the team as well. And you just say, hey, normally aligners are $5,000 or $5,500 or whatever. And we're doing it right now for $4,500 for everybody. But you have to schedule your consult on these days. And you just tell everybody and you get everybody to come in and you get people to pre-sign up and all that kind of stuff. And then you just try to slam through 10 cases, 15 cases, whatever. Everybody is different. So you give a little bit of a discount, but you got a lot of volume coming through. That also helps with lowering your cost with the aligner companies because you can buy in more bulk and those kind of things. But I wanted to try something like this around veneers. So do you have any, and I know this is live on air and I'm putting a lot of pressure on you, but do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, we've tried to do something similar in the magazine that we're in. We've offered $1,000 off of, I think it's like four or more veneers or 8 or more. I think it's 4 or more veneers. You get $1,000 off. So we tried it there. It hasn't been super successful. Now I say that, and the marketing is skewed because we closed a full mouth case on that one, but we're 1 for 1. We don't have any other patients that have come from that. And so I just don't know that people have seen that deal. But I think if we were putting it out to our current patients that know us, that trust us, along with potentially even having it on our website and marketing, kind of bottom of funnel type of structure, that could work really well. And I'm all for it. I think like with our workflow, that would make a ton of sense.
Would it be like the whole month of April we're pushing for that?
Yeah. I mean, that's something I love doing. And frankly, I feel like it's a procedure in our office because of our workflow, and we keep a lot of that stuff in house. It's actually really profitable.
Yeah, it's not like a liners where it's like 30% of yours goes right to a liner company, right? Yeah. Okay, so to do something like that, how many, just for the audience and for my sake, how many people do you think that you've offered veneers to that haven't said yes, that are just like sidelined?
Good question.
Are we talking hundreds?
Yeah, I would say so.
So just so the audience understands this, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get 4 or 5 of those people off the sideline, right? Like that's what you're trying to do with these kind of campaigns. These are not to get 400 veneer cases. This is to get like 4 or 5 veneer cases in that given month, which would be awesome. Like big veneer cases, and the patients are happy, you're happy.
And it gives you some momentum into the next month too.
All right. So then May is Moms Deserve to Smile, Mother's Day theme. What are your moms really into? Do we give them something?
So we've done kind of like a Mother's Day deal. I think one thing we've struggled with the most is just how do you get it in front of the right people? You know what I mean? And like, how bad do they really want it? You know what I mean? Like, so people have to be ready for veneers, because either way they're going, it's still going to be a significant chunk of money, whether they get 20% off or not.
Do you have any spas nearby you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's one thing we're actually in the process of building out. My patient care coordinator, part of her role is going to also become our brand ambassador. And part of her job is going to be connecting with 10 businesses a month around us. So for example, we actually have a really well-known plastic surgeon in our old building on the first floor. And so I was like, just go over there and say, man, like we see a lot of patients that like to take care of themselves. You do too. Like, is there a way we can put a package together where we could help support your business? And like the way that you ask that, it's not saying, how can you help me? It's how can I help you? But you're asking, how can you help me? Because the only narcissist would be like, well, yeah, you can do this and I'm not going to do anything for you.
That's the correct way to do it. So it's like, how can I help your business? How can I refer some of my patients that would love your services over to you? So one of the things that you can do for the audience, and this may be for you too, is like, you can say, hey, how much is a spa package? And they're like, oh, it's $500. And you get a facial and you get a, whatever. And you can say, hey, we're going to run a Mother's Day campaign where we're going to buy them a spa treatment if they do X, Y, and Z with you. So if they do a veneer case or the liner case or whatever it may be, we're going to pay for their spa. That's $500. And then you just say, hey, can you give us a discount or whatever? And they'll usually say, yeah, we'll give you $100 off. So now you can just run a theme, and you might only get a couple moms that want to do it, but you also might get a couple husbands that want to do it.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And there's so much more value because they feel like they're getting something for free versus a discount on something.
Well, also if a husband knows like, man, my wife loves the spa and she's been asking for this, like I can just package this together.
We make it easy for you husbands.
Yeah.
Come see us.
Okay, perfect. And you're working on partnerships. So we should have plenty of time in May to push towards that. And then June, we'll do Invisalign Day. Mm-hmm. So we already described that. That mm-hmm. one's pretty straightforward. July, I just put pushing whitening. How's whitening work for you internally? Is that something that you like doing? Some offices love it, some don't.
And we're playing with a different workflow. I forget what the product is, but it's basically like a 20-minute deal. So they come in like pre-made trays and you pop them on and the hygienist can handle it. And we're trying to make that more of like an adjunctive thing. To me, like spending 2 hours of chair time and an assistant with Zoom or Glow or whatever your core whitening or whatever your preference is, like, I don't think, $600, $800 for whitening for 2 hours of your time is really worth it.
Yeah. Another thing too, that most people don't realize about whitening, they're one of the worst kinds of new patients to get. So a lot of people do the whitening and it's fine if you do it, right? But it's just like, a lot of people just come in and like, I have a wedding, I have this, and they don't they don't end up doing work afterwards. So you got to be careful with that. Okay, and then we have August back to school. So that's another aligner push for young people. Do you do limited cases for the little guys, like the younger guys?
I tend to not do a whole lot of ortho on kiddos just because like a lot of the ortho that we do is relapse cases from, 30, 40-year-olds that had braces, didn't wear the retainer, and now we're just kind of realigning mainly from the premolars forward.
Do kids have to get a checkup before school in Texas?
I don't know that they have to.
So, well, in some states, it's required before you go back to school. You have to go do a checkup. So, some of the pedo practices, what they'll do is they'll just do like free, generate a ton of new patients, and then do the work. So, what would be something we could do in August then?
Good question.
I'm going to leave that one. We'll come back to it. So, September, we put another admin training. And then October, another veneer day. So that's 2 veneer days that we're pushing every year. And then November, thankful for your smile, gratitude before and after highlights. So that's just all about just like telling the story. Like these are people that we're thankful that we got to help them, but they're thankful for their new smile kind of thing. And we can just dump those and spam those out into the market. And then December, this one actually works well. So what you do is you say, buy a new smile as a gift. 25% discounts on all Christmas gift cards. And then you sell veneers and aligner cases or parts of them as for kids, for wives, and they get the gift card. You get all the money in December, which is awesome because it's a shorter month. And then you push all the treatment into January and in the future.
Cool. Yeah, I love that. That makes a ton of sense too.
Okay, so we got that dialed in. So let's talk about number 3. So I put on here just some different ideas around different videos. So behind the smile mini-series, just like the behind the scenes that we talked about, like what goes into your thinking and your team's thinking, before and after reels, finance highlight reels. I think that's really important. And I don't think a lot of people do that. It's just like, here's how we figured out how to get this paid for this patient. Smile makeover gift contest. So just some simple things. I won't go a ton into that because of time. We also have I created a promotion strategy checklist. So pre-event, during the event, and then post-event. So I have all that in there. I'll share that with audience as well. But the one thing that I think everybody needs to add, and something that you're thinking about adding, is I like the company Smile Virtual, but there's lots of other companies out there. So one thing that we're talking about adding for you is it's basically like a CRM that the doctor manages though, for smile makeovers, veneers, aligners, those kind of things. So basically how it works is you got all this marketing that we're doing, both external ads, SEO, website, and then now internal for all these different campaigns that we're going to do. And then it all pushes to a Smile Virtual. New patient, existing patient, doesn't matter. They go in there, they take all their pictures. Dr. Hamblin, you get those pictures. You now have all their information. And then you look at them, and then you shoot a video and say, hey, yeah, we could definitely help with that. Here's what I'm seeing. Here's what's going on. You and I kind of did this, but we did it live where I took my phone and like showed you and stuff and then, but you get back to them on your time. So if early in the morning you like to do these, great. In the afternoon you like to do them, great. Doesn't matter. You give them all the information, and then there's an AI function that actually shows the patient what their smile will look like when they're done, which is the most important part, right? And then now you have this patient's like, great, let's get scheduled, and you push them on to your consultation schedule. What this allows you to do is allows you to be the best salesperson in every dental practice is the dentist, right? Like, and usually the owner doctor's focusing on these bigger cases. So it works perfectly in tandem to get you what you want, focus on the treatment that you want. There's nobody really in between you and the patient. Because right now, every other patient, they got to call your office, the patient, they have to schedule, they have to see somebody, then they're going to get to you, and then they get the treatment done. With this, it kind of removes all the barriers for these kind of cases.
Yeah. And I think, and we kind of talked about this in the pre-call, but I think we've actually tried that in the past. And the challenge was nobody used it because nobody knew it existed because we weren't getting any traffic driven to our website. And so when we're getting 100 new patients a month, then maybe that becomes more attractive because people are actually going to see it and use it and make it useful versus it just living on our site and not doing anything.
Awesome. So I'll get started on that and get that added to your workflow. And then what we'll do, we'll follow up on this in a couple months and say, hey, what's working, what's not working, and let the audience know like how you did this and then what we actually pulled from it. So I'm excited to share with that.
And I think in general too, I've been working with my buddy Chat on some scripts and stuff that can be really easy to shoot. And myself and Dr. Farrell are gonna sit down and just block our schedule.
Scripts for like videos?
Yeah. And just shoot a bunch of videos. And that's a lot of like what we've talked about: Invisalign, implants, veneers, financing.
You want to talk about that next week and go over and give those scripts away?
Yeah.
I would love to learn about that. And I think the audience would too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that was a great show.
Beautiful.
All right. You have a good one.
My man.